What's up, family? What's up, man? Come on in, come on in. I'm gonna give you guys a little bit to get in here before we get started. What's up, man? Man, you guys pray for me. I'm nervous. I got my big towel with me because I'm nervous. My hands are all sweaty. It's gonna be a heavy topic today, man. It's gonna be a heavy topic. Before we get started, man, on behalf of my mother-in-law, man, may God bless each and every one of you. What's up, Queen? May God bless you. May He have His way in your life. May He continue to draw you closer unto Him. And for those of you that catch this on the YouTube replay, man, may God bless you as well. And may God have His way in your life and continue to draw you closer to Him. We're going to go in today, family. We're going to go in, and this is going to be a heavy topic. You know what I mean? It's going to be a heavy topic. Man, bear with me, okay? Man, what's up, baby Grizz? Man, I can't see worth the crap out here. You know what I mean? Man, I'm nervous. But man, we're going to go ahead and get started. Man, following the signs, recognizing the signs. Man, family. Man, I'm on one today. You know what I mean? I'm like on cloud nine. Stay with me. I'm on cloud nine. What's up, Scorpio lady? Man, yesterday while we were doing a live stream, something happened to me that's never happened to me before. You know what I mean? Something happened that just completely blew me away. What's up, Chase? Man, I was doing a live stream yesterday and we're talking about guilt and shame. And in the process of that live stream, a butterfly landed on the camera. And it was just like standing there just staring at me, you know what I mean? And then it hid behind the camera, came up on the other side, but it was still just staring at me, right? And I have this thing about butterflies. Stay with me. I had this thing about butterflies. And the first time I had like an experience with a butterfly was in China, 2016. I was there studying Kung Fu and meditating and just the whole nine, you know what I mean? And doing a naming ceremony, my master was going to give me a Chinese name. Stay with me, please. And so in the process of giving me a name, I had my two Kung Fu brothers with me. One was from England and one was from Chicago. Both spoke English and fluent Chinese. They were my translators. They were my tour guides, everything, right? And so I'm sitting there and I have my eyes closed. The Kung Fu master is sitting in front of me and I'm sitting on the mat and I'm just like in meditation, just taking it all in, right? Just enjoying the moment. What's up, Thomas? And this black butterfly lands on my side right here. And my brother from Chicago, Dimitri, got my attention and he said, don't move. He said, you have a butterfly on your side. So I looked down at this butterfly and I'm tripping because in 2016, I was 46 years old. And so for the first time in my life, I've had a butterfly land on me. I grew up around butterflies, but this was the first time in my life that a butterfly has ever landed on me. Stay with me. And so the master is like, what are you guys talking about? And so they tell me, man, there's a butterfly on Elijah's side. And so the master is like, yes, you know what I mean? And so what he was saying was, man, and he was like, he was saying in Chinese and they translate it as, man, this is divine destiny. This is your destiny. He said, I had 4 names that I was going to choose from, but this name right here has a butterfly symbol in it. The breeze is picking up as I'm saying this. This symbol, the name that he gave me, that he was going to choose for me, has a butterfly symbol in the name. And so what he was saying, the name was Lu Wen. That's my Chinese name, Lu Wen, and it means green destiny. Stay with me. And he said he got that name because it was in a dream, but he had some other names that he was thinking about. But when he saw the butterfly on my side, he knew that, man, that was a sign. He knew that, man, this was the name. Forget about the other names. This was the name that he was supposed to give me. And so that was profound to me, right? And so I'd hurt my hip in China doing Kung Fu, and I went to walk to this one temple. And it was like 7-8 miles away, right? Up through the mountains and all this other stuff. And they'll tell me not to go. But I'm hard-headed, you know what I mean? And so I got to go. For whatever reason, I have to go on this journey. What's up, babe? I have to go on this journey. I have to get to this monastery deep in the mountains, right? And so me and one of my brothers, Josh, from England, we walk. And so as we're going there, we stop and we take a picture, and he takes a picture of me, and there's this butterfly, and I didn't recognize this at the time. He didn't recognize this at the time until we got back and he sent me the pictures. There's a butterfly, a monarch butterfly, descending upon my shoulders. It was coming down in the picture as he snapped the camera. Stay with me. And so when he sent me the pictures that he took of me out there, man, I could see this little butterfly, and I'm tripping. I'm tripping because, man, this butterfly flew. I didn't see no butterflies out there on the entire journey. But there's this butterfly descending down on my shoulder as he takes this picture. Recognizing the sign. So as I'm doing this live yesterday, butterfly lands in the camera, and it flies up and lands on my bracelet. And I'm holding my bracelet up in my hand up, and I'm just looking at the butterfly. And I go to put my finger right here like this, and the butterfly just gets on my finger, and I'm standing there holding the butterfly, looking at it, right? And it flies off. Recognize the signs. And so I'm tripping because I've never had that experience before. And so as I'm laughing and I'm meditating on it later on, doing the whole process, man, I'm feeling like a little kid. I'm feeling like a little boy because I have this thing about butterflies. Butterflies, my mom appears to me as butterflies and hawks. And for the first time in my life, this butterfly landed on me and allowed me to pick it up, and was just staring at me, right? And I'm laughing like a little boy. So if you go back and look at that video from yesterday, the live from yesterday, man, you hear me laughing as I'm looking at this butterfly, because for the first time in my life, I felt like I was in the presence of my mom. I felt like my mom was there looking at me and telling me, man, you're okay, baby. You're all right. You're good. Don't trip. You're good. Stay with me. I'm going somewhere. Recognizing the signs. Family, we get communications all the time, but most of us can't recognize the signs. Most of us we're so discombobulated, focused on everything else. We're so worried and depressed and frustrated and filled in anxiety and stress and all this other stuff. We got all these distractions going on that we can't recognize the signs. So this morning I get up and taking out the trash, and so I get up by the garbage can, and there's this huge turtle. I love turtles. You hear me talking about turtles all the time when I'm out by the pond. I love turtles. I have this thing for turtles. And so there's this huge turtle this morning out by the dumpster, and I'm tripping because I've never seen a turtle way out here. You know what I mean? It's a big red ear slider turtle. I used to raise these. And so I'll go up and I'll start videotaping it, and I'll go down and I want to touch it and just play with it and just mess around with it. And I'm sitting there, it's like, man, what the heck is going on? What's going on to where, man, yesterday, this butterfly lands on me. Yesterday, I get a visit from my mom. Yesterday, man, I'm allowed, and it just didn't happen. It happened during the live stream where it was being recorded. Stay with me. This morning, I love turtles, and I walk out to take out the trash, and there's this huge turtle. And so I'm standing there, and I'm just tripping, and I'm just, man, God, thank you. Thank you, God. Man, I'm just tripping, just in awe, recognizing the signs. Stay with me. And the trip, family, when I went back in and I was meditating, I said, God, what is this? What is it saying? What is it saying? What is it saying? And he said, Elijah, you don't know what today is. You don't know what happened yesterday. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And so I'm sitting there and I'm thinking about this, like, I know my mom passed away May of 1972. Stay with me. My mom passed away 50 years ago this month. She passed away May 3rd, 1972. 50 years ago. She was only 20 years old when she died. 50 years ago. And so she shows up and pays me a visit 50 years after she passed away in the form of a butterfly. Stay with me. Yesterday, the world experienced a total solar lunar eclipse. And what does that mean? We're talking about recognizing the signs. Stay with me. And so we're not going to get real deep in that, but I'm just going to tell you what that is just a little bit. Man, that's where the earth, the sun, and the moon become aligned. They're in perfect alignment. You guys hear me talk about the importance of being in alignment, aligning our minds, our hearts, and our soul. And only once you align your mind, your heart, and your soul are you in alignment with God. That's all meditation is calming this and putting your mind in alignment with your heart, in alignment with your soul. Stay with me, we're going somewhere. Most of us can't recognize the signs. And the trip is because, you know, we're also going through this thing right now through the beginning of June called Mercury retrograde. Mercury retrograde. And what does that mean? Man, just simple. Mercury retrograde, all the planets and the things go the same direction, right? They're all going around the sun the same direction, right? But Mercury has a shorter distance to go. And so it goes around faster than the Earth does. The Mercury goes around 88 days, takes it 88 days to go completely around the sun. It takes us 365 days to go all the way around, right? And so Mercury laps us. If you ever ran track and somebody ran and they went all the way around and caught up to the person running still and passed them again, that's called getting lapped. You got lapped, you got passed up, you owe another lap. And so that's what Mercury does to Earth. And what happens is, man, it seems as though everything is going backwards. It seems as though Earth is now moving backwards because Mercury is passing us up. And so what that does is that throws off our energy. It either gives us more energy or it takes away our energy. It makes us feel lethargic. It makes us feel our minds can be like all over the place. Stay with me. Because it's a trip, because we so deep, we understand that the moon and the sun and all these things have energy and that they affect the tidal waves and that they affect Earth. But what we don't pay attention to is how these things affect us as human beings. Recognizing the signs. And the trip is, I hear so many religious people. We're going to go in a little bit. I'm just laying the foundation, recognizing the signs. Religious people tell you, man, you should not study the stars. You should not study astronomy. You should not study astrology and all this. Man, that's the devil stuff. And and man, to each their own. To each their own. I'm going to show you in the Bible how ignorant all these people are. Stay with me. I'm going somewhere, all right? And this is not to bash anybody, but their own Bible tells them how ignorant that is, how ignorant that belief system is. 85 times, 85 times, it is mentioned throughout the Bible. Show us a sign. Give us a sign. Give us a sign. Stay with me. We're talking about recognizing the signs. The birth of Jesus. In Matthew, I want to say chapter 2, the birth of Jesus. You have all these people. They know because the scriptures, the Old Testaments, all the prophets prophesied that the king of the Jews was coming. All the Jews knew that, man, the king is coming. All the religious people knew that the king was coming. Stay with me. Because it had been prophesied. And so there's like all these prophecies. When you'll know that he's coming. You know, all these signs, when he's coming. Throughout the Old Testament and throughout the New Testament, it's always talking about the signs of the times. The signs of the times. How will you know the signs of the time? It talks about the sun. It talks about the moon. It talks about the stars. That's all Bible. But yet religious people tell you that, man, if you study that stuff, man, that's the devil's territory. That's demonic. That's satanic. Stay with me. So Herod is king at the time. He didn't want this little kid coming up and becoming the king because he heard the prophecy that there's a king coming from the Jews. And so 3 wise men come. And it's a trip because every Christmas, all religions, all Christians talk about this time frame. The 3 wise men. The 3 wise men studied the stars. The 3 wise men paid attention to the skies. And because there was a star, and because they studied and knew the signs, they knew that it's time. Stay with me, we're going somewhere. They knew that the birth of Jesus was here because of the signs in the sky. Nobody told them. They knew by studying the stars. Stay with me. So they go to Herod. Herod didn't know about the stars. He didn't know about the sign in the sky. He found out that the king was born because of these three wise men showed up. Herod, mad. He called all the chief priests. He called all the teachers of the law, all the religious people. Stay with me. If you don't believe me, get Matthew chapter 2 and just read your Bible. Just read your Bible. Matthew chapter 2. Herod calls all the religious people, all the religious fanatics, all the leaders of the community in the church. He called all of them because ain't none of them said anything to him about the sign. Ain't none of them said anything to him about the star being a signal that the king was born. Stay with me. So Herod gathered all the priests and all the religious people. And he told them, man, hey, these three wise men came. Three kings, whatever you want, magi, whatever you want to call them. These three guys came and told me about a star, about a sign in the sky that the king of the Jews was born. What is this that they're talking about? And so the religious people, yes, according to the prophets, yes, there's going to be a king coming out of the Jews. And what they would do, they knew the word, but they didn't know the signs. They knew the word, but they couldn't recognize the stars. They couldn't tell the signs of the times. Unfortunately, today, we got so many religious people. They could tell you what the Bible says, but they can't tell you what the signs are. They could tell you what thus said the Lord according to the scriptures, but they don't know the signs of the times. They can't pay attention, or they don't recognize what's been shown to them because they're so religious and dogmatic. So they know the word, but they don't know the stars. They know the word, but they don't know the sign of the times. So Herod calls these three wise men back, and he tells them, man, after you go find him, man, come back and tell me where he's at so I can take him some gifts so that I could go worship him. But Herod was going to kill him. And the wise men, after they visited Jesus and gave him gold and frankincense and myrrh, man, they had a dream that Herod was going to kill Jesus. And so they left and went home a different way. They didn't go back and tell Herod where Jesus was at. And Herod was pissed. And so Herod called all the people together, all the religious people together, and said, man, these three wise men, they outmaneuvered us. They tricked us. Man, kill all the kids, all the baby boys, 2 and under. Stay with me. We're talking about recognizing the signs. And so Herod put out a proclamation, a decree that every boy born 2 years and under of age had to be murdered. They killed all of them kids because nobody knew how to recognize the sign of the times. Nobody knew how to see the stars and recognize what the stars were saying. They knew the word, but they didn't know the signs of the times. They knew the dogma, but they couldn't tell by the signs that God has given us. Don't get so religious in whatever your belief system is. Don't get so dogmatic that you forget the connection with nature. Don't get so dogmatic that you lose connection with the stars. Don't get so dogmatic that you can't see what's going on around you. Don't get so dogmatic and religious that you can't recognize the signs. All these Jews had all of these baby boys murdered. Murdered. I can't even imagine that. I can't even imagine the cries of the moms and the fathers and the kids of seeing and hearing that their baby boy or their brother has to go. To no fault of his own, we're going to butcher him. To no fault of his own, we're going to kill him. And ain't nothing you can do about it. Because they didn't know the signs. They were religious and dogmatic, but they didn't know the signs. So people ask me, man, how do you recognize the signs? First and foremost, you have to be in alignment. Being religious don't give you the signs. Being dogmatic and your religious beliefs does not give you the signs. Recognizing the signs. See, so many of us, because we think we're so smart, we think we're so woke, we think we're so vast. I mean, and what I mean by that, we think we're so big, we think we're so important that everything is beneath us. And so we don't pay attention to the signs. We don't pay attention to the birds. We don't pay attention to the butterflies. We don't pay attention to the bees. We don't pay attention to the reptiles or any of these things. Why? Because they're so beneath us. We could tell each other how many albums Beyonce have and all this other stupid superficial crap. We could talk about Steph Curry's stats. We could talk about Luka Doncic and the Dallas Mavericks and all these other people. We could tell you their stats. We could tell you all the stuff that they've done. We could tell you how many albums Jay-Z has and whoop-de-whoop-de and all these other people. We could tell you all this stuff. But we can't tell you a damn thing about nature. We can't tell each other a damn thing about the stars and the signs in the sky. We're so far out of alignment. We've gotten so religious and dogmatic. Just like in the Bible, nothing's changed. Nothing has changed. All them religious people in the Bible. Not one of the priests, not one of the teachers of the law knew about the sign. Not one of them knew that Jesus had been born, even though it had been prophesied and talked about for decades and for generations. They knew the word, but they didn't know the signs. And because they didn't know the signs, look at how many baby boys had to be murdered. When you don't pay attention to the signs, you miss the messages from God. When you don't hear the voice of the Lord. And so you got to understand, and we got to stop expecting God to just talk to you in an audible voice. He'll do that sometimes, but what he does most of the time is use nature. Why? Because if you hear a voice all the time, that's all you're going to expect, and that's all you're going to look for. Being connected to God, being in alignment with God, you'll understand. Man, if you read the Bible, if you study the Bible, you know that God used a jackass to speak to somebody. God could have spoke to them, but God used a donkey, a jackass, a mule to speak to somebody. God will use your dreams to speak to you. But most of us are so fucking religious and dogmatic. Oh, that's just nothing. Man, I just ate something wrong that didn't agree with my stomach, and that's why I had that dream. No, you got a message and you're too ignorant to understand it. And so you dismiss it. God can use your dreams to send you a message. Most of us don't want to get in alignment with God and understand what the dream is saying. Because some of us, we think we're so smart and we think we're so intelligent. Man, I'm just going to write down what the dream means. And I interpret the dream as this, and you completely missed it. Because you're using your logic And logic has absolutely nothing to do with spirituality. Logic has absolutely nothing to do with your spiritual being. Logic has nothing to do with God. The Bible talks about God appearing to Moses as a burning bush. God revealed himself in many ways in the Old Testament. But we don't pay attention to the signs. We're so busy ripping and running, we're running past the signs. We're missing the signs. We're trying to fulfill our purpose and we're running hard, full throttle, and just running over and missing all of the signs. You can't see the signs watching Dirty Housewives of Atlanta. You can't see the signs and recognize the signs watching all this trap and garbage crap music and listen to these dog shows and this violent crap on TV and listening to these ignorant ass pastors preaching religion but not God, preaching religion but not spirituality. Just like the priests in the Bible. Just like the priests in the New Testament, the Sadducees, the Pharisees, the scribes, and all these religious scholars. They knew the word, but they didn't have a relationship with God. They did all the yeah, but they didn't have a relationship with God. They did all the yeah, but they couldn't recognize when Jesus was even born. They couldn't recognize where he was at. And yet you got three wise men from other countries that paid attention to the stars. They wasn't religious at all. They paid attention to the stars. And because they paid attention to the stars, they knew Jesus was born. Because they paid attention to the stars, they knew right where Jesus was at. And all these religious people right there with Jesus didn't have no idea he was even born. All these religious people that was right there with Jesus had no idea he was born. Had no idea where he was at. Recognizing the signs. Recognizing the signs. See, we have to humble ourselves. And I tell you guys, we have to get outside of our ego. We got to get outside of this head up here. We got to stop acting and moving on what our mind tells us to do. Oh, our mind tells us to go left, so I'm going to go left. Oh, I got to go do this because it's a thought. I got to go over here and do this. Man, I got to go do this. And we're doing all this stupid stuff, and we ain't got in alignment with God, with our greater good. Our mind, our heart, and our soul. Man, what am I supposed to do? What direction am I supposed to go? What journey am I supposed to be on? What path am I supposed to be on? Because if I leave it up to my ego, I'm going to be fucked up every time. If I leave it up to my ego, I'm going to be religious all the time, dogmatic all the time, and disconnected from God all the time. Recognizing the signs. When you recognize the signs, when you're connected to God, you can recognize the signs. And when you recognize the signs because you're connected to God, you ain't got to ask nobody what you're supposed to be doing. When you're connected to God and you're in alignment with God, you ain't got to be looking for validation from nobody else. You ain't got to go to your pastor and ask your pastor what you supposed to be doing, who you supposed to be marrying, where you supposed to be working at, and praying for you. And pastor, just lay hands on me. I need you to get a connection through to God for me. Damn all of that. Make your own connection. You don't need another person to connect you to God. Recognizing the signs. There's not a biblical scholar out there. There's not a pastor out there. There's not a preacher out there that can dismiss or invalidate or tear down what I just told y'all about the priests. That's in the Bible. None of them knew where Jesus was at. And they were religious. They were the leaders. None of them knew how to be connected to God. They knew how to follow the law, but they didn't know how to be connected to God. They knew what to do religiously, but spiritually, they were dead. They were dead spiritually. They were dead because they were disconnected from God. They were dead because they wasn't following the signs. They didn't know how to read the signs. And what did Jesus talk about all the time? Jesus told the people in the New Testament, man, get an understanding so that you don't be led astray, so that people won't mistreat you or people won't mislead you. Understand the signs of the times. Because many are going to come and say, I'm this. Many are going to come and say, I'm that. Many are going to come and say, da-da-da-da-da. But man, pay attention to the signs. He didn't say pay attention to the Bible. He didn't say pay attention to the religious people. Damn them. He said pay attention to the signs of the times. Stop running to these pastors and all these other religious people and asking them what thus said the Lord. Stop running to them and asking them to get a word for you, to give you a word. You don't need them. You don't need them. You ain't never needed them. But because you don't know who you are, and because you're not connected to God, because you refuse to get in alignment, you run to church. Because you refuse to get in alignment, you run to these pastors, you run to these bishops, you run to these preachers, you run to these disciples and these apostles and all these other people. Because you don't know who you are. And obviously you don't know who God is. And you don't know how God operates. Again, 85 times throughout the Bible, it talks about paying attention to the signs. That's not no coincidence. There is no coincidence. That's not no one-time thing. 85 times throughout the entire Bible, it talks about pay attention to the signs, and you will know that this is going to happen by the signs. This is going to be the sign that such and such is about to happen. This is going to be the sign that such and such is about to happen. But we can't see the signs. We walk right past the signs and completely miss it. Let me say it again. We so smart. We so woke. We're so enlightened. We're so deep. We walk right past the sign and don't even recognize it as a sign. Pay attention to the signs. See, you dismiss all of that stuff because that's insignificant to you. That's not important to you. And so you don't know anything about the stars. You don't know anything about the moon and the sun, even though the Bible tells you that these are going to be signs. You dismiss the butterflies. You dismiss the other birds and the other animals. I'm looking at a red cardinal right there. It's beautiful. Let me see if I turn the camera, see if you guys can see it. It's a pretty bird. I don't know if you guys were able to see it. I hope you were, but man, It just flew off to pay attention to the signs. That's how you know if you're on path. That's how you know if you're right where you're supposed to be. That's how you know if you're going the right direction. It's amazing because, man, we put up all these signs. Man, I could go from LA to New York by following the signs. I could get on the freeway and it'll tell me which way to go. And there's signs all along the way. New York, 3,000 miles away. New York, 2,000 miles away. New York, 1,500 miles away. New York, 500 miles away. New York, 100 miles away. There's signs all along the journey. We follow those signs, but we can't follow the signs that God has given us. We recognize those signs. Man, you could just close your eyes. What does a stop sign look like? Man, everybody tell you, oh, it's red and it's this shape and it's white lettering, blah, blah, blah. What does the yield sign look like? Oh, everybody tell you what the yield sign look like. The color of the sign, the shape of the sign, the color of the lettering. We know all of this stuff because we pay attention to those signs. Going into the men's bathroom, going into the female's bathroom. Man, you know which one is which. Why? Because there's a sign. But we dismiss our dreams. We dismiss nature. As big as nature is, as vast as nature is. And it's a trip because when you look at Jesus, Jesus always spoke in parables. He always used nature to teach the people. We don't know crap about nature. We don't even want to walk out into nature. But Jesus always used parables to teach the people. He used things that they could relate to. We miss all of that. We dismissed all of that. We threw all that away because we're so deep, because we're so smart, because we're so intelligent, we're so woke, we're so enlightened. Pay attention to the signs. Can you recognize the signs in your life? Or are you too busy to even pay attention and observe the signs? Is that why you're so depressed? Is that why you're so full of anxiety? Is that why you have so much fear? Because you haven't been paying attention to the signs. So you don't know where you're at. You don't know what's going on in your life. You don't know which way you're supposed to go. You're all over the place because you're not paying attention to the signs. You're not recognizing the signs. You're not getting in alignment with this and your heart and your soul and asking God, man, where am I? Where am I supposed to go? Because I'm in alignment now, I see the signs. Because I'm in alignment now, I recognize the messages. It's a trip how we just dismiss all of that And all we want to do is grab the word. And there's nothing wrong with reading the Bible and all these other great books. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm not dismissing that. But understand that the people in the Bible read the word, what books they had, and they still could not recognize the signs of the times. And because they couldn't recognize the signs of the time, look how many baby boys were murdered. Because everybody was religious, but nobody was spiritual. The trip. The spiritual people wasn't even from the community. The spiritual people were from other countries. The spiritual people didn't even belong to the Jewish people, to the Jewish nation. They came from outside in. Stay with me. If anybody should have known the signs, it should have been the Jews. If anybody should have known the signs and recognized the signs, it should have been the priests and the teachers and the scribes. But it was three strangers from other countries. Not because they had the book. Not because they listened to what the prophets said. Not because they paid attention to the scribes and the Pharisees. Because they looked up at the stars and they followed the signs. They looked up in the star and recognized that's the star. The Bible couldn't tell them which star it was. They had to have a connection with God to understand that's the star. It's time. He's here. And because they had a connection with God, after they went and saw Herod, and they went and gave Jesus his gold, his frankincense, his myrrh, God gave him a dream. That's in the Bible. So all these religions, when you had dreams, that's satanic and woo-woo, because it didn't come from the Lord, and these people weren't saved, and they didn't. Man, I ain't got time for that foolishness. To each their own. That's why they're ignorant. That's why they're leading the people astray. Just like these priests. Just like these religious leaders in the Bible. And so the Bible says that after they were in the presence of Jesus and gave him all that they came to give him, they didn't come empty-handed. They came with gold. They came with frankincense and myrrh, and they bestowed all of this stuff upon this little baby. And then they had a dream. Again, they paid attention to the signs. The sign was they were given a dream. Go a different route. Do not go back to Herod. This is what Herod is going to do. Go a different route and go home. They paid attention to the signs. The first sign, they knew that Jesus was born. That same sign led them right to where Jesus was at. The next sign was the dream. Go a different way. This was the way you came, but go a different way. Don't go the way you came. Go a different way. Go this way. And because they paid attention to the signs, the dream, Jesus and Joseph was able to get Mary up and Jesus up, and he was able to get them together and all the stuff that they had and flee into Egypt. Why? Why was Jesus spared? How was Jesus spared? Because these three wise men, these three foreigners understood the signs, and they paid attention to the signs. They recognized the signs. Are you paying attention to the signs in your life? Or are you so ungrateful, so bitter, so angry, so resentful in your life that you're just pissed off that shit ain't going the way you want to go? And so you're just mad as hell and you can't appreciate nothing. You can't be grateful for nothing. Or are you still mad because what somebody else done did to you? You can't forgive them. You can't let that go, so you can't see the signs. You can't get in alignment. You can't hear the voice of God because you won't humble yourself and get in alignment. You don't have to be super spiritual to hear God. You don't have to be super spiritual, man, to be able to recognize the signs. You just got to be in alignment. You just have to humble your ego and get in alignment. And how do you get in alignment? Through meditating. Meditating is getting outside of your head, getting outside of your ego, getting outside of your logic, and going down into your heart brain, down into your soul or your gut brain, where God dwells within you, where your spirit dwells. Are you paying attention to the signs? Can you see the signs? Can you hear the signs? Can you hear God talking to you? Can you hear your ancestors reaching out to you? Their energy is still here. I know we don't want to believe that because that goes against our religious beliefs. We have to get outside of this up here. We got to stop living in our head. We have to stop living in our head. Living in our head is what got us messed up. Living in our head is what's got us twisted up. Living in our head is what's got us distracted. Living in our head is what's got us angry and pissed off. Living in our head is what has us disconnected from God. Living in our head is what keeps us disconnected from God. Living in our head is what keeps us from reaching our full potential. Because you cannot reach your full potential living in your head. I don't care how smart you think you are. I don't care how wise and deep and rich you think you are. Are you paying attention? Are you paying attention? Don't get so dogmatic. Don't get so dogmatic in your religious beliefs, in your intellect. Don't get so dogmatic. Don't get so all-knowing and arrogant because you studied a little bit. And because you got degrees and got businesses and whoop-de-whoop-de-whoop, man, that doesn't mean you're in alignment. That doesn't mean you're connected to God. That doesn't mean you're paying attention and recognizing the signs. Man, my hope and prayer is that you humble yourself. That you humble yourself. Man, and dismiss all of the garbage that you think you know. Because when you really think about it, The great majority of all the crap that we've been fed, the great majority of the crap that we've learned has got us isolated and disconnected from God. So you can't rely on your own logic. You can't rely on your own thinking. Trusting your intuition. Your intuition is down in your soul, is down in your gut area. That's where they get the saying, trust your gut instincts. That's intuition. That's from God. That's spiritual. We don't operate in that. We operate up in the logic and what we think we know and how we freaking feel. And that's why we're so disconnected from God. Man, family, my hope and prayer. Man. When you really stop and think about nature, God didn't just create all of this beauty for nothing. When you think about nature and how big it is and how beautiful it is and how magical and mystical it is, He didn't create this for nothing. Where purpose is not known, abuse is inevitable. That's what the late Dr. Great Miles Monroe said. Where purpose is not known, abuse is inevitable. When you don't know the purpose of nature, you will abuse it and neglect it and ignore it and minimize it. Standing out here amongst all these trees, all these plants, all these bushes, all these flowers, listening to the birds, the crickets, the bugs, the squirrels. This is the sanctuary that God created. This is the sanctuary that God created. And yet, no, we don't want to spend no time out in the sanctuary that God gave us. When you think about it, if you read the Bible says that in Genesis 1 that God walked with Adam and Eve in the garden. That's where He walked and talked with them, in the garden. If God wanted them in a fucking church, He would have built a goddamn church. If He wanted them in a damn temple or a mosque, He would have created one. He gave us nature. And He walked and talked with us in nature. But we're so fucking intelligent, so fucking wise and deep, we don't want to spend time in nature. Just like we don't want to spend time in our soul, in our gut area where the house of God is. Because we want to stay up here in our fucking ego. Because we're so fucking smart. We're so damn intelligent. We got to get it together. We have to get it together, family. Man, I love being out here. It trips. People tell me all the time, Elijah, man, don't you get scared being out in nature? When I lived in California, I lived on 54 acres. And there'd be bears out there and mountain lions and bobcats and raccoons and all these other stuff, right? And people, rattlesnakes and tarantulas and all this other stuff. And people were like, oh no, I'm not coming up there. Man, that's scary and whoop-de-whoop-de-whoop. And it's like, man, no, man, this is my playground. This is my sanctuary. I'm more at home here than I am in the city amongst people. It's the two-legged animals that I'm concerned about. See out here, when your intent is right, when you're pure-hearted, you ain't got to worry about being attacked by stupid stuff or by these animals, because your frequency and your energy is right. You're at one with nature. You're at one with God. But in the city, where you got all these crazy, psychotic, twisted individuals walking around swearing that they're woke, swearing that they're enlightened, angry as hell, pissed off, mad as fuck, racist as hell, judgmental as hell, always plotting on who they could get, who they could take advantage of. We've missed it. We've missed it. We've left nature to go live in concrete buildings. We left nature to go put ourselves in a fucking prison of concrete walls. And we want to call that home. And then say, I'm scared of being in the woods. I'm scared of walking through the woods. But yet there's crackheads every fucking where you go in the city. Yet the motherfuckers getting shot and killed everywhere you go in the city. Motherfuckers getting raped and violated everywhere you go in the city. But you scared to be out here in the woods. How fucking twisted and back-asswards is that? We got to grow up. We have to grow up. Man. Whew. Family. My hope and prayer is that you've heard something in this video that resonates with your soul. You've heard something in this video, man, that's caught your attention, that's got you, man, I need to get back in alignment. Man, I've been missing the boat. You know what I mean? I've been tripping. You know what I mean? I've been tripping. I've been looking for all these people. I've been looking at all this saying. I've been looking at all these other places. Man, let me go inside. Let me go within. I don't have to go to the teachers. Man, let me just humble myself and go within. Let me go to the source, to the creator. Dr. Miles Monroe said, if you want to know the purpose of a thing, you have to ask the creator of that thing. Let me say it a different way. He said, if you want to be able to use something at its optimal level, you have to go to the creator of the thing. Why the fuck are we going to psychologists and doctors and these shrinks and all these other twisted ass people and these pastors and these preachers and these fake people out there in the streets and on social media, man, asking them for help and asking them, man, let me get my life together and what must I do and what's my purpose and where am I supposed to go? And we're asking all the wrong people. All we have to do, quiet our mind, get outside of our mind and go down within our soul. Go to our spirit and dwell and talk with God. Come out in nature and bask in his presence. Look at his beauty and his wonder. We missed it. We've missed it. Man. Family, thank each and every one of you that stayed on this live with me this long. Man, thank you for those of you that are subscribed to this channel. And for those of you that support financially, man, may God bless you abundantly over and above all that you've sown into this platform. I love you guys. And man, I'm just gonna end it with this, man. Stop getting distracted with the bullshit. You know what I mean? Stop getting distracted with the bullshit, family. You stop letting them fucking lead you astray with the bullshit. What am I talking? Man, they're talking about this abortion shit, whether they're gonna overturn. Man, fuck that shit, family. That's not important. And I'm saying this is not important in the grand scheme of life. It's a fucking distraction used to get us fighting with each other. Used to get us arguing and debating over stupid ass shit. We get caught up on this guy in New York, Buffalo, who went and shot up all these other people. Man, family, don't buy into the bullshit. Stop buying into the negative, toxic ass bullshit. That's all negativity. That's all bullshit to distract you and to get you pissed off and to get you frustrated and to get you feeling hopeless and helpless. You're paying attention to the wrong fucking signs. You're paying attention to the wrong shit. Turn off your fucking TV. Get off of social media if that's what you gotta do. Stop paying attention to the wrong shit. It's fucking up your frequency. It's messing up your energy. It's killing your relationship with God and your relationship with yourself. You don't even know who the hell you are. You don't even know why you're here. You don't even know where the hell you're supposed to be going. Because you're distracted and you're looking at the wrong shit. You're focused on the wrong shit. There's a shift going on in the world. There's an energetic frequency, a shift taking place. There's a shift taking place. And if you're not paying attention, if you're not connected to God, you're going to miss the boat. And what am I talking about? Because you're going to get so fucking caught up. You're going to get so fucking twisted over all this negative bullshit taking place. And every time you look at this shit, it feeds into your ego of division, of hate, of bitterness, of resentment, of animosity, of being a fucking victim. Every time you look at this stupid shit that they throw out their news media and just blast it all over the TV, it feeds into that helplessness and that hopelessness state and that victim mentality and that despair of, man, there's not enough. And so that feeds into our lack mentality. Grow the fuck up. Grow up. When I talk about grow up emotionally. And you can only grow up emotionally by growing up spiritually. You grow up emotionally by getting in alignment with God. By getting in alignment with God. You tried everything else and it's all failed. You tried religion. You tried all this other crap. You tried drinking. You tried smoking. You tried sex. You tried everything and it's failed and it's left you frustrated. My hope and prayer is that we get it together and that you learn how to sit there, humble yourself, and get reconnected to God. Not religion. Religion will have you missing the boat. Religion will have you missing the signs. Religion will have you frustrated. Religion will have you self-righteous and judgmental. Get connected to God. You don't need religion. You don't really need these pastors, these preachers, and all these other people. You don't need that mess in your life. All you need is to get connected to God. There's a trip. I was talking to this religious guy the other day, and he was telling me, no, you got to have Jesus and whoop and all this other stuff. And you're leading the people astray. And he's telling me all this stuff. And I asked him, I said, wait a minute. I said, all these people in the Old Testament, before religion came in, all these people in the Old Testament, they did greater works than any man walking on this planet today. Any Christian walking on this planet today. All these people in the Old Testament who didn't have Jesus because Jesus hadn't came on the scene yet. All these people in the Old Testament that didn't have, quote unquote, the Holy Spirit dwelling within them, so they say, the Holy Ghost or whatever. All they had was God. They walked and talked with God. And they did greater things than any Christian man or woman walking the planet today. God has used those people in the Bible way more than he's used all these other people to get rich. And see what people today do, man, this is a get rich thing. In the Bible, it wasn't about getting rich. They had a relationship with God. They didn't need religion. Religion came later. Religion disconnected them from God. I said it again. Religion disconnected the people from God. I know that goes against what we're taught. I know that goes against what many of us believe. All you need is to get in alignment with God. Get outside of your ego. Get outside of your ego. And see, your ego, it doesn't care how it leads you astray. Your ego, it'll have you being religiously fanatic. Your ego will have you believing that there is no God. Your ego will have you believing whatever you want it to believe. You know what I mean? Your ego don't care what it has to tell you to keep you a slave to it. It's going to tell you anything and everything to keep you a servant to it. But you'll never be able to recognize the signs. You'll never be able to be connected to God, being connected to your ego. When Paul in the Bible talks about, I die daily, what he was saying, I kill my ego daily. I die to my ego. I'm not being led by my ego. Because I'm in alignment with God. My spiritual man, my soul is what regulates my life. My spirit is what regulates my life. Not my ego. I love you guys. Man, I love you. Again, thank you for being here. May God bless each and every one of you. I love you guys. I love you. Happy healing. Peace.